Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 128 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and sometimes crochet, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. I'm filming this a bit early, but we'll be posting the video a bit later, just because of some things we have going on right now. So I'm filming this on Friday, September 23rd, and I will have it set to publish sometime on Saturday. I still have to get the editing done and getting the processing and uploading onto YouTube. So hopefully I'll have it set and ready to go for sometime tomorrow morning. We shall see. We have a handful of things coming up today. My husband has a funeral he is doing this morning. First part this morning, then some more of it at lunchtime and 1 o'clock, and then after that is a little luncheon with the family and guests and everything. And then from there we are heading out of town for an overnight for our pastor and wife retreat thing. So that's tonight and doesn't finish till 3 o'clock tomorrow. So by the time we get home after that tomorrow, it'll be too late in the day to get the videotaping done. So I'm filming early. I hope I have time to get the editing and everything done before I have to leave. Cross fingers, we shall see. But it is what it is. So, and I didn't want to leave it till Sunday, and then if I don't get it done, Sundays are busy days for us. And then Monday I'm busy, and then by then it's like, well, I'm already into next week. So anywho, that's the story of my life right now. Anyway, so episode 128. I'm so happy to have you all here with me today. It's a gorgeous, little bit windy, cool day this morning. It was only 52 Fahrenheit this morning when we got up. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy the cooler temperatures are finally coming. So, since I talked to you last week, I have made some decent progress on my sort of shorty vanilla socks. They're living in my Fringe Supply field bag, and I got a little bit of work done on them this week. I'm hoping to get more done on it this weekend. I'm not sure if I'll have much time for doing any knitting during the retreat. I'm not sure how busy and packed the time is, and I'll talk to the people running it whether they're okay with me knitting while we're doing some of the stuff. But if not, that's okay. I'll take them with me. They'll get a trip. So here's where I am right now. I am using some of my own hand-dyed yarn. This is from one skein. This is from one end. That's from the other end of the skein. So you can see that they go together, the same colors, but the reds and oranges really struck this half of the yarn, and the yellows really struck this half. And I'm hoping maybe by the time I get to the toes they'll look a little more similar. If not, oh well. And if I finish this and I still have about 50 grams of yarn left, I might make a second pair. Maybe with contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs. We'll see. But I can't remember where I was when I saw you last, but I finished the leg. I've done both of the heel turns, like the heel flap and heel turn, and I'm currently a little ways down the gusset decreasing. So I've only done half a dozen rounds on the gusset decreasing. So they're coming along. I hope to have them done in the next week or two. We'll see. I might get a bit more time to work on them this weekend. We'll see. Anywho, so that's my progress on my sort of shorty vanilla, just plain Jane vanilla socks. I'm contemplating maybe writing up a bit of a pattern for this and just posting it as a freebie on my YouTube page, or not YouTube page, what am I saying? I'm thinking of writing up a little freebie pattern, just a very basic pattern, and posting it on my Ravelry pattern pages. Just so I actually have a written pattern that I can print out for myself to use whenever I make them, because I do make them quite often. And I have just the very basic recipe written down that I use each time I make a pair of these socks. So I think it'd be handy just to have a little bit more complete pattern in a spot where I can easily find it and have it available each time I make another pair. So I think once this pair is done, what I want to do is I want to dye a skein of yarn in a Halloween type colorway so that I can have them ready for Halloween. We shall see. But also, since I talked to you last week I was talking about starting the Rachel top, and that's a pattern by Veronica Joby. I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I had been trying to decide whether to go with the lighter blue or the more tealy blue. I opted for the teal. That was the one I was leaning towards, and that is the one that the majority of people who commented about colors commented to use. They suggested teal. And I've got to start. I have done the border, or not the border, the hem, and I'm almost done the first repeat of the pattern. And it's a nice, straightforward, easy knit. There's a little bit of a distinction in the side panels, so up either side, and they will go in a triangular shape. They will start out a certain number of stitches, and then every so many rounds you decrease 2 stitches, so you'll end up with like a large triangular wedge that'll help give it that A-line shape, where it'll flare out a little bit more around the hip, which I like because of belly. So I'm making progress on here, and I only have, where am I at? This much left to do, and I'm finished the first pattern repeat. So it's coming along really nicely. I'm using a 3-point pot. I can't think it's too early in the day. I'm not used to doing this early in the day. It's not even 10 o'clock yet. So this is way earlier than I'm used to filming. So I'm using 3.5 millimeter needles, or US 4, and I am using Wool-like by Loops and Thread, and this is a light fingering weight yarn. It has a ton of yardage. It's something like 678 yards in a 100-gram ball of yarn. I have 3 skeins of this, and as I mentioned last week, I'm about 100 yards less than what the pattern calls for my size, and I'm making the largest size on this just because I want it to be big. So I will be, according to what the pattern calls for, I'll be, I think, roughly 100 yards short. So I'm hoping that's not a problem, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish the sweater and not run out of yarn. If I am running closer, what I am planning on doing most likely is I will knit the front and back. Right now it's in the round. Once you get to the armholes, you divide and do front and back. What I'll do is I will finish the front and back, do the shoulders, do the neckline, and then I'll see where I am for yarn. And at that point I will, if I'm starting to think I'm running short, I will divide what yarn I have left into 2 equal parts and go as far as I can with each of the sleeves. So that's worst case scenario, I'll end up with a shorter sleeve than I want. But I think I'll be okay typically I find that the yardage suggestions are usually generous for whatever you're making. So typically I always have more yarn than I need, and I have yarn left over most of the time. So we shall see. It's probably going to take me a while to get to the sleeves on this one, although it is going fairly quickly. There's only two, the repeat is 8 rounds, and there's only 2 where you have to pay attention a bit, and that's where the lace and the lace part is. The rest of it is just plain knit. So quite a few of the rounds you're just knitting around in large circles. So I goofed up. I have no idea how I did this. For my size, I think the cast on was 440 stitches, so a ton of stitches. A lot of stitches. So I cast on, I put a marker every 25 stitches, counted, double counted, triple counted to make sure I had the correct number, I had enough stitches on there. And somehow I must have got it into my brain that I needed 444 stitches. So once I had done the hem, I didn't notice that yet because no counting needed. So I went to count out, because you had to place markers for the dividing for the side panels. And so you set aside so many stitches, placed a marker, and that's where your first side is. And then you had so many stitches to do the front marker for either side of the second side, and then the same number of stitches across the back. When I went to go and count out all of this all the way around, I had 4 extra stitches. So I just snuck. I thought, I'm not going to go back and do the 6 or 8 rounds that was the border or the hem. Ain't doing it. Nope. I'm not undoing that much. So I just fudged it and decreased 4 spots along the back. So I brought it down to the correct number of stitches. So that was one goof up on the sweater, and just made it work. So it's not the end of the world. I made it work. I must have somehow in my mind decided I needed 444 stitches, because I counted it meticulously. I counted it as I cast on. I cast on 25 stitches, placed a marker, counted to make sure there was 25 stitches. Okay, I'm good. Then I did the next 25, placed the marker, counted it twice to make sure I had the correct number. Did that all the way around until I was up to the 425, and then I counted from 25 up to apparently 44. Somehow and then when I was ready to join it, I counted all those, each ones between the markers again. And then again, when I was knitting the first round, I counted between each of the markers. So I was 100% sure I had the number of stitches, the right number of stitches cast on. It helps when you actually read the instructions and cast on the number they tell you to cast on, not the number that you've decided to get in your head and do. Oops. Anyway, and I'd also thought that I used a German twisted cast on. Twisted German twisted. I never get that right. So I wanted to use that for my cast on, because I like I like that for a cast on. But I thought 440 stitches, oh my goodness, I'm never gonna measure out enough. And I thought, so I looked around and decided, okay, well, it'll result in a couple extra ends to weave in, but that's no big deal. I took yarn from 2 balls of yarn and cast on with 1 yarn on one finger and the other skein of yarn on my thumb. And I did the cast on that way, and then when I got all the way around, after counting it a zillion times, I snipped the end of one of the 2 balls of yarn, and then I was ready to go in the round with just the one that I left attached. So that worked out really well. It was convenient because for this particular pattern, it was convenient because I had 3 balls of yarn to work with, yeah, three. I have three of these guys to work with, so I was just able to work from 2 skeins. So that worked out well. So I didn't have to redo, because I thought if I had to redo the cast on with that many stitches because I ran out of yarn for a German twisted cast on, I would just be so deflated. I would just kind of put it aside and sit there and sulk for a while. So using the 2 balls of yarn worked really well for this. And now I only have the amount of yarn, a good amount of yarn left to weave in. I don't have half a mile of yarn because I overestimated how much I'm going to need for the cast on. So that was good. So a handful more stitches and I'm ready to start the second repeat of the pattern. And then as you're going, I think I've got a few rounds to do, and then it's time to do the first decrease on the side panels. So have the triangles starting to decrease in size. Every certain number of rows you decrease on either end of both of the side panels. So I'm excited. It's coming along nicely. And I'm planning on spending a bit of time working on both this one, the Rachel top, and my sort of shorties. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping this doesn't take me 6 or 8 months to do. I'd like to get this done in a reasonable amount of time. And it does feel like it's going, it doesn't look like a lot, but it does feel like it's going fairly quickly. Like I say, doing those multiple rounds that are just plain knit goes mindlessly and quickly. So it's great for TV knitting on those rounds. Like I say, only 2 rounds that require a little bit of thinking and paying attention to where you're doing the increasing and decreasing stitches, because it does that kind of old shale ripple kind of design. So the only other thing I had to chat with you about, did that sentence make sense? Is you may have seen already my yarn for twists and turns has arrived. So I did do an unboxing video, and I'm not sure if everyone has watched that or not. It's just a quick little 5-8 minute little video, but these are my 3 colors for my twists and turns shawl. Now I have not, so it's Holst Super Soft. So I ordered it from Holst in Denmark, and I have the 3 colors, flannel gray, larkspur, and opal. And I'm still contemplating which of these 2 will be my main colors, so my main and contrast main colors, and which one will be my color pop. I am kind of leaning towards using, I have large hands, but I'm not able to hold that, it doesn't want to hold right. So I am thinking of using these 2, although there is the slim possibility that I'll go rooting through my stash and see if I have a different color I might want to use instead. We'll see. But right now I'm kind of leaning towards I really am in a teal blue kind of mood right now. Blue is my favorite color, but I am kind of in a tealy blue phase right now. But I'm thinking of these 2 as the 2 main colors and this one as my pop. Or maybe I'll do these 2 and this one as the pop. Or as the highlight color, or whatever it is. I don't know. I haven't decided. I probably won't decide until I've seen the first clue in the pattern. And I'm kind of hoping that we're able to get a feel for all 3 colors and how they play together right away in the first clue. But who knows? just want to put this back together before more of them escape. One of them already tried. I'll pause this and not make you watch this. So that's all safe and put away. So I haven't had little flowers lately. Last weekend we didn't make it to the market. Tomorrow we're going to be out of town, so we're not going to make it to our little market. So I might not have a little bouquet until next week. So I'm hoping that next week they still have some there. But instead I have because we're heading into autumn and Thanksgiving season, I have my little, it's just like a little plastic, hard plastic, little pumpkin decoration. I like him. I think he's cute. So I think that's about it. Work is going well. Things are busy. I'm taking time to get a bit of knitting done here and there when I can. I've got grading to catch up on. I always get behind on my grading. And I've been perusing Ravelry and looking at patterns I want to cast on. I have no business doing that. I already have 2 projects on the go, a third one ready to go as soon as the pattern comes out, and I want to make another pair of Halloween socks. I also need to get started on making another pair of Christmas socks. I might use, I don't know if I have a really Christmassy skein back there or not. I might have to dye Christmas skein, or I might look and see what I have in my stash for Christmassy looking socks, make a pair of sort of shorty Christmas socks. I do need to get that sort of shorty pattern written up. I think that's a good idea, with a few little points on whether you want to do it with ribbing all the way down, if you want to do variations. I typically for the cuff do 1x1 rib. You can do 2x2 or 2x1, whatever. So it's all open for, you make it how you want, or I'll make it how I want. I've done some that are ribbing all the way down, some that are not. It's all good. Anyways, I am clearly starting to natter and ramble and just talk for the sake of talking. Come on, I get paid to talk for a living. I talk. I do well talking. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go and get started with the editing, and hopefully am able to get this up and ready to go online before we have to hightail it away for our trip and for the busy day. Hubby's already gone. He's doing the service at the cemetery right now. That's just a short little ceremony, and just for the immediate family of the person. So that part, there's just him and the immediate family. That won't take long. He'll probably be home not too long from now. And then after that, we'll have to make sure everything's packed up, we're all set and ready to go, and then we'll have to head down to the church for the visitation time with the family at noon, and then the service at 1, then lunch after, and then we have to be, I'd like to be on the road by 3:30, so we have plenty of time. It's about an hour and 20-minute drive to where we have to go next. So it's a busy day, but it's all good. I'll have my knitting for some of the time. Alrighty, on that note, I will quit rambling about nonsense and stuff you probably don't care about. Anyway, on that note, I'm gonna get out of here. Take care, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye.